Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Mack. I'm one of the residents here in the University of Calgary, here to explain to you Vitreoretinal Training B, Posterior Hyaloid Detachments, Posterior Hyaloid Level 6. In this particular level, your job, again, is to remove as much of the vitreous as possible, but there's a time limit, and the vitreous is a little bit more adhesive compared to the previous levels. So here I'm just creating that vitreous skirt so that I can advance it to the peripheral retina. Um, I'm using a relatively lower magnification at this particular point because I want to be able to see more of that peripheral retina as possible. But I will zoom in a little bit more as the case progresses. So here you notice that I'm sort of reversing the vitreous cutter in order to get underneath the port. You could do that, or you could also switch hands and use your left hand to get underneath the right trocar or right port as well. And I've switched hands and I've kind of gone back and doing the same thing as well on that side. I just want to be able to visualize a little bit better in terms of the vitreous. So this is why the view is a little bit more expanded than the other videos. So here I'm using a very high cut rate. I think the highest cut rate possible on the VR Magic simulator, and then a very low aspiration rate, somewhere between 30 and 40. So now that a lot of this is done, I'm now asking my assistant or um, changing it myself on the settings to scleral depress so that I can get as much of the peripheral vitreous as possible. So you notice here I'm getting a very tight, close shave. Almost my aspiration level in this case is almost down to 0 or pretty much like 10. The reason is that any sort of slight aspiration can easily induce retinal tears, and I've tried this level multiple times and induced a tear in each point there because my aspiration rate was too high. Again, trying to go to the peripheral retina. Here you've got to be careful because if you reach across directly with your left hand with the vitreous cutter there, you will inadvertently ding the lens. So just try to actually inverse or reverse the cutter on using your right hand and you'll be able to get some of that vitreous, just like I'm doing here. Again, no aspiration to low aspiration and a very high cut rate. That's the safest way to approach these areas of peripheral vitreous, which is very challenging. You may not be able to get all of the peripheral vitreous, and I think that's really okay. The level doesn't really expect you to get as much of the peripheral vitreous as possible. So I stopped that attempt because I left enough of the vitreous remaining, and I'm showing you another attempt here where I'm being able to quickly cut away the peripheral retina, or sorry, the peripheral vitreous as best as I can. So I'm doing a very quick cut here. The video is sped up a little bit just for the sake of time. And then when I get to a certain point, I decide that I want to be able to aspirate a bit more of that peripheral vitreous and then cut as much as I can. So in this case here, you notice that the edges of that area where I was starting to cut started to come in because of the aspiration level. So again, you could induce tears if you're not careful. So lift, dissect easily, and then cut. So lift here, and then I'm dissecting very gently, and then I'm cutting the rest of the vitreous away. So lift, and then cut away. I'm trying to use a little bit of whatever light can bounce off the retina to cut the remaining vitreous. Is a little bit challenging as I don't want my light pipe to slip. Um, in real life, you would be able to depress using the light pipe and take away some of that peripheral vitreous. But in this particular case here, the simulator is not able to emulate that at all. So I've gently cut as much as I can. Again, trying my best not to induce any tears at this particular point. And now I switched hands. So again, I think that the first video that I showed you, really I wanted to demonstrate how you could do a close peripheral shave, but then I realized after multiple and multiple attempts at this level that the simulator doesn't expect you to remove all the vitreous. It does give you a better score up to a point, but I think if you remove about 90 to 95% of the total vitreous, the simulator will still be able to give you a good score. So here I'm just gently cutting, again aspirating, and then lifting, and then cutting. And then again aspirating, lifting, and then cutting. So we scored 97 on both attempts. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.